What would you do if your boss looked you in the eye and said, "Get it done or get the hell out of my company"? Would you fight to stay or would you walk away? In today's powerful story, a hard-working single dad faces that exact moment when a furious CEO pushes him too far. But what happens next changes everything and proves that respect can be worth more than any paycheck. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. Now sit back, relax, and let's get started. David Carter arrived at the company headquarters before sunrise, just as he had done for years. As a single father raising his 10-year-old daughter Emma, he had learned how to balance long workdays with family. Responsibilities every morning followed the same routine: preparing breakfast, dropping Emma at school, and then heading to the office. His dedication had earned him the respect of coworkers and clients alike. He was known as the person who could solve problems when others gave up that morning, however. Tension filled the air. A major shipping contract worth millions of dollars had encountered unexpected delays due to severe weather and supplier issues. David and his team had worked through the night, trying to minimize the damage, but some circumstances were beyond anyone's control. Despite their efforts, an emergency meeting was called by CEO Richard Stone. Employees gathered nervously in the conference room. Richard entered with an angry expression, carrying a stack of reports. He slammed them onto the table and demanded answers. Department managers tried to explain the situation, but Richard was not interested in listening. His frustration grew with every passing second. When he noticed David sitting quietly, with detailed reports and solutions prepared, he immediately focused his anger on him. "You're responsible for this project, aren't you?" Richard snapped. David remained calm. "My team and I have already developed a recovery plan. The delays were caused by—" "I don't want excuses," Richard interrupted loudly. "Get it done or get the hell out of my company." The room fell completely silent. Several employees looked down at the table, avoiding eye contact. They knew David had worked harder than anyone to protect the project. For a moment, he simply stared at the CEO. Years of late nights, missed vacations, and personal sacrifices flashed through his mind. Instead of arguing, he quietly closed his folder and stood up. The stunned employees watched as he collected his belongings. Without raising his voice or showing anger, David walked out of the conference room, leaving everyone speechless. The impact of David Carter's departure was felt almost immediately. At first, CEO Richard Stone acted as if nothing had happened. He assured executives that the company would move forward without any problems and claimed that no single employee was indispensable. However, within days, cracks began to appear throughout the organization. David had been far more than a project manager. He was the trusted connection between the company and several of its largest clients. Many of those relationships had taken years to build. When clients learned that David was no longer with the company, they became concerned. Phone calls that were once returned immediately went unanswered. Small issues turned into major problems because nobody understood the accounts as thoroughly as David did. The biggest shock came when two long-term clients requested meetings with the board of directors. During those meetings, they made it clear that their trust had been placed in David's leadership and professionalism. One client even announced plans to move a multi-million-dollar contract elsewhere if the situation was not resolved. Suddenly, the company faced losses far greater than the cost of a delayed shipment. As pressure mounted, the board launched an internal review. They quickly discovered that David had repeatedly protected the company from costly mistakes and had often worked late nights without seeking recognition. Several managers testified that he had warned leadership about potential risks long before the contract delay occurred. His recommendations had been ignored. Meanwhile, David focused on a new chapter. A competing logistics firm recognized his talent and offered him a senior executive position. Within weeks, he rebuilt client confidence and brought valuable business opportunities to his new employer. His reputation continued to grow back at his former company. Profits declined and employee morale suffered. The board confronted Richard about his treatment of one of the company's most valuable leaders. Sitting in a tense meeting room, Richard finally understood the truth. David had never been the problem. The company's biggest mistake had been letting him walk away.